Hello everybody, it's me Paddy from across the shock, and first video in a long while. There is a reason for it. I'm going to make it short and sweet because my grandchildren watch it and it involves them, or involves one of them anyway. The newest one, I became a granddad again. Me and Sally became grandparents again for the 24th time last week, but there was a few complications with the birth, and my daughter-in-law had a really rough time, and the little grandson, she's also diabetic, which kind of affected the baby a bit, and he's still being affected by it. He was supposed to be out today again, but he's not. His blood levels are not reading right. She had a really bad internal time. Let's leave it at that. But she's getting stronger now. He's getting stronger. Hopefully it'll not be too long before they get out, because she is just desperate to get out of hospital. And we've been sort of babysitting. They have 5 children before this one, so that's their 6th child. So everybody's been sort of helping with the babysitting or whatever. So if you know my past, I'm not very good with children or grandchildren being ill because of my past. You need to know it. You can go back in my videos and find that out. I'm not going to explain it again. So, because I do tend to, it's been a rough couple of months. We've had a few little things going on with family, and I don't want to bring that onto the channel. So anyway, they're both doing well. If you've got prayers, please say them for them, and hopefully they'll be out soon. So I decided I'd come back and do a wee bit of controversy, because that's the way I feel. I'm a bit uptight. I just done a sharpening video using Jeff Jewell's the sharpening stones I won in his competition quite a while back that I have not got round to doing. So I've that video done. It's not great, and that made me even more uptight. But I thought, well, I'm going to do this one, and this is sort of a blowback to how my channel started and how I got into. And I'm a different person now, which is nice. I was quite, I was easily upset because I took everything to heart that said on YouTube, and it's not like that. YouTube is not something to take to heart. This is a hobby. I enjoy it, and I get what I want to get. If it's not to your liking, we can just move on and we can be friends. But you don't have to buy what I like, and I don't have to buy what you like. So that's it. What I've got in front of you is a beautiful PM2, which was gifted to me by a really handsome gentleman. I'll put his name in the description to save his embarrassment. But also, I've got what I considered was this was the knife that made me think, wow, Ganzo are really good, and they're knocking out really good products. Yes, they were copying. Now, they were copying, but they were using their own name. I don't know what you call that. And they weren't copying just from one. This is a copy of this. Now, this had black scales when I got it. I just put aluminium ones on it. So this had black scales. This has a Benchmade locking system. This has a Spyderco locking system. So this has 440C steel. This is S30V steel. So there's the differences. The handle, the blades look much the same. There's little details on the PM2, like better jimping. But to be honest with you, from the original scales that were on this, the scales on the Ganzo are, in my opinion, better than the PM2. Now, I put these on because they're rounded and they give a nice feel. The original PM2 ones are a bit sharp. Now, you could sand them down, it'll be fine. But these have been beveled round by Ganzo, which I think was just a nice touch. This is probably a $120 knife. This is a $15 knife. Huge difference. And look at, they are just almost exactly the same in shape. Like Ganzo has the name on it, Spyderco has it. So they haven't tried to rip them off. This is not trying to rip somebody off. You can't sell this as a Spyderco because it's got Ganzo all over it. It's got Firebird on the other side. It's got 440C ingrained into it. So this is not to trick somebody. This is copying. But they're copying different brands and putting them together in a mix mash. And that's what Ganzo done. And you either liked that or you didn't. And to be honest with you, I don't mind if anybody likes it. If anybody doesn't like it, I fully accept the fact, well, don't buy one. But I did because I couldn't afford a PM2. And I wanted that feeling when you're just in the community that I had something that other people were talking about. I couldn't afford it at the time, so I got this. It's great to play with. It's an axis lock. Now, it's not as loose as the Benchmade one, so there's more. The Benchmade one is a fidget factor better than this, but is that what you want with a knife? Does fidget factor mean that much? This lock is great, and the difference between this and the Benchmade one is the inside. The little wire spring on this is about twice as thick as the Benchmade. I have never ever broke a Ganzo one, and let me tell you, when these came, this had a brass and a plastic washer, and you used to have to sit for days and work these in. Now it's a different story. The newer ones are not the same, but these ones had to be worked in. That being said, I loved this knife. This, I felt part of with this knife. And I got other copies that Ganzo's had done. And I'll maybe go through that. If anybody's interested in a compare and contrast Ganzo's against other knives, modern knives, I'll quite happily do it. I've done them in the beginning, but it's been a couple of years now. So, I mean, I still use this knife now. So it's still relevant. You can still buy it now. It's cheaper now than when it was probably when I bought it originally. It's about $15 or less now for this. That's gas station prices from America, and we don't even get them for that price over here. So, I mean, this is a great knife, 440C S30V. This weighs 4.4. This weighs 4.1 with the aluminium scales. It's just, they're 8¼ inches long. They're the perfect, I mean, the PM2 is just the perfect EDC knife, work knife. It covers all the spectrum. It's just a beautifully engineered and designed knife. And yes, Ganzo have copied parts of it. And that's, you know, unfortunate. But, if you can't afford it and you're just getting in this hobby, don't be frightened to buy a Ganzo. And don't let other people bully you into not buying them. If you want to buy them, buy them. This is not trying to imitate a Spyderco knife. It says Ganzo on it. It has a Firebird logo. It has their number, the designated number of the knife, and 440C. This is not in any way trying to be this. It looks like it, but it's not trying to be it. This is the most famous probably EDC knife of all time. This and the Delica maybe, and the 940, and maybe the ZT 440. But there's copies from other brands, not just Ganzo, but other brands of these other knives. And I have quite a few of them because that's what I could afford until I managed to get the knives that I liked. So if anything, this made me want this more. It made me want this more. I wasn't somebody who just wouldn't spend. I would spend that money if I had it. And I do now, but I didn't have then. So it wasn't a money thing at all. It wasn't about the money. I just wanted that knife. I want that feel of having a PM2. So I have a few copies like this, and not just all Ganzo. There's a couple of them Ganzo, but I have other brands that are just like knives that you want when you come around, that everybody seemed to have when I came around. And I wanted to join in that feeling. And it's great if you've got the money and you can join in the feeling. That's always, that's what life's all about, isn't it? Wanting to be part of, or wanting to, look, this made me feel part of the community. As silly as that might sound to you, if you have the money to buy whatever you want to buy. I didn't. So I would like to do a wee series, maybe once a week, where I'll bring in ones and just sit them down and say, are they still relevant now to what these are? Is this still relevant? I mean, this is now an old knife. Is it still the best EDC knife? I probably don't think it is anymore, but it is a smashing knife. It is an amazing knife. But is it the best EDC knife? I think it's got great competition now. Is this one of the best budget knives? Yes. That was simple. Yes, it is. It's one of the best budget knives now as it was then. It's still a great budget knife. And they do so many different types of knives. And they're all of an extremely high quality. Now, you will get the odd one. And there's bound to be somebody saying, well, I got one. Well, I'm sorry. I mean, they're made in China. They're made in bulk. You will always get a one that's maybe not perfect. But if you get it through something like AliExpress and you've used your card, you can always get your money back, or maybe half your money back or something. Buy another one. You've lost maybe $7. It's not bad. So that's going to cause a bit of controversy, I'm sure. But if you can't afford the PM, or you just wouldn't pay that money, and there's a lot of people out there just won't pay the money. They enjoy being part of this knife community, but they're not going to spend the money, and I respect them for that. As much as I respect people who spend the money for it and let me see and share in their joy at buying something. So there we go. Is this still relevant? Yes. Is this still relevant? Very much so. They're both great knives. They're both a mile apart. 120, 15. You know, huge, vast difference in prices, but yet they'll both do the same work. This one will do it a bit longer than this one, but you can sharpen this one easier than that one. Not a whole lot, but it is easier. So there you go. What do you think? What's your opinion? I look forward to hearing it down below. Take care. It's nice to be back, folks. Thank you very much for sticking by me, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care now. Cup of tea time.